This is from the website psychologytoday.com. The article is by E. Ewan Edwin Edwin I think it's Edwin Mawson. Relationships. 12 signs that someone may be involved with a cult. Love bombing, hate bombing, and a promise of a new life. Key points. Many people worry that the young are easily pulled into cults. They recruit from the wider population through love bombing and promising a new start. New recruits experience euphoria. My apologies for not saying that word properly. Euphoria. Euphoria, as my apologies for saying that word, as being part of a chosen secretive group. It is not uncommon to hear of families lamenting the loss of a young person to a group that they think might have become a cult. But what are cults today? No longer simply religious extremist groups. Cults can also be secular, identity-based, or political groups that aim or claim to do good. The Jim Jones cult began as a movement that fused Marxism and Christianity and provided homes for homeless black people in America inner cities. I'm just reading from this article. When it comes to kind of words of language that humans use, like black and white and etc., I see everyone as just brown, different shades of brown or pigment of brown, because we all come from Adam. So that's just a quick disclaimer there. It's this is not my words. It's the words of Edward Mawson. So I shall continue reading just clarification. In America inner cities, and yet Jonestown in Guyana, my apologies again, Guyana, in 1978 resulted in a suicide pact of 909 people. The Osun and Shitakutno courts, my apologies for not saying those names right, both began as Eastern religion alternatives to modern Western life. The Ashore courts offered free love and then went on to commit the largest bioterrorist attack in American history in 1984. The Shinjuinkiho court committed the Japanese Sari gas attack on the Tokyo subway, in which 13 people died and 5,800 people were injured. Did these well-meaning movements go wrong, or was the rot in the roots? There are startling connections between these very different cults, specific stages common to the life cycle of cults. The following checklist has been arrived at by analyzing the work of cult specialist Janyan Lalich, Stephen Hansen, Alexandra Stevenson, my apologies for not getting the names correct, and Robert J. Lifton, and through observing common patterns between the following cults: the People Temple, Jonestown, Shununu Osu, the Mason family, the Order of the Solar Temple, the Branch, the Davidiris, and the NXIVM. The common stages in the life of a cycle of a cult. 1. The big idea. A leader or leaders propose a new transcendent idea that promises a passe solution for an alienated and vulnerable people. The big idea promises to solve all problems, to end loneliness, isolation, and a sense of personal failure. It makes vague promises of meaning and salvation. There's usually a charismatic leader or single text with its own coded language that spreads their big idea. 2. Love bombing. Cult leaders and early devotees recruit from the wider population through love bombing and promise a new start, a hope for a future of love, belonging, and salvation in the living community of people who all believe in the big idea. As a new recruit, you become one of the chosen to whom the truth is revealed. You are loved and saved. 3. A new life. New recruits are inducted into a secret language of signs and symbols. They encouraged to identify as victims of the world outside and are promised a new birth, a new body, identity with this life or an afterlife. Recruits are taught to see the world as black or white, good or evil, us or them, and this creates tight group unity which is enforced by rote learning of the court's slogans. These beliefs are often illogical as a test of true belief. New, new recruits experience euphoria as part of a chosen secretive group. Growth. As new recruits move into greater commitment, the court enters the expansion phase and looks outwards. The new task is to recruit ever more people. Love bombing and promising a new life are used on outsiders, and the young and needy are targeted. The court expands rapidly and it promises of future rewards, be they spiritual, sexual, or political. Mantras and slogans replace all individual thought and offer collective oneness. 5. Rites of passage. Alliance is shown through acts such as renouncing your own family, past life, and past name. New members are separated from all past support systems and becomes dependent on the court. New members are tested by having to transform their identity, body, language, and even sexual behaviors. They must don the robes and declare to the world that I am no longer who I was, I am now part of Group X. Isolation. The court becomes too large to control and has to prevent influences from the outside world from weakening its power over members. The leaders ban acts of individual free will. The court isolates its members from the world beyond, depicting the outside as corrupt, even violent. This increased bonding as members see themselves as threatening victims. Language control and growing paranoia make question the court impossible. Mantras and slogans silence doubts and dissents, and internal repression grows. Hate bombing. The court reaches its size limit and problems arise from failures in its plan for all, but the court cannot omit errors. It starts to feed on hatred of the outside world. It involves rituals of hatred, building a deeper unity of the persecuted. One scramsham of society is usually the target of all hatred, and they might be given a coded name. Members are encouraged to share their hatred in ritualized forms. 8. Traitors. Afraid of the growing hate culture, some members question the leaders, but they are thrown out or made to do penance. The contrasting phase begins and leads to a clampdown on any freedom within the court. In the face of internal prosecution, a senior member often leaves and becomes a traitor. Gaslighting, peer pressure, and groupthink prevent others from leaving. A few are helped to leave the court by family members or forced out by court deprogrammers, but such acts only fuel the court's conviction that it is under attack. 9. Witch hunts. Internal trials within the court weed out all potential traitors. Doubters are shamed into falsely accusing others. The remaining members are forced into committing acts of personal supplication that might be sexual, involve body markings, self-humiliation, or a pledge to transgression acts. A common test of belonging involves committing small crimes against the hated world beyond. Once a member commits an illegal act, the court has evidence it can use to blackmail that member in compliance. This is abusive trauma bonding. 10. Prosecution paranoia. As more people flee the court, secrets are leaked to the outside world about the totalitarian rule of the leaders. External law forces investigate the court. The court's paranoia grows, increasing paranoia. The court weaponizes for a showdown against the world and sees violence as a necessary purifying force that will save itself from its scheming enemies. All who commit acts of violence are pardoned in advance by their leader or leaders. Many other court members leave, and this increases paranoia, fear of implementing confrontation with internal enemies. 11. Attack. Often a respected member of the court is accused, tortured, or even killed, and the secret scapegoating becomes the new form of a group's cohesion. Court members are forbidden to leave and Tower is whipped up by immediate attack from internal enemies. Imagine the rear. Alliance to court is now proven by striking back against the outside world. After an attack, the collective fear of being destroyed by the internal enemy takes over. 12. Final conflict. Fearing destruction, the court either attempts one final attack against the world or barricades itself up and enters into a stage of siege. In the latter case, court suicide pacts are common. The court either destroys itself or lashes out against its often fantasized enemies. Either way, the court collapses with violation of laws or loss of life. Once a person is inducted into the early stages of a court, it is very hard to help them get back out again due to emotional manipulations that courts employ and the vulnerabilities they exploit. No court actually believes it is a court, so early identification of court behaviours in any religious movement, self-help group, identity group or political movement is essential in helping recruits escape from their grasp. That was 12 signs that someone may be involved with a court. I do hope and pray that this video might be a blessing towards you and might be of help if you yourself are in a court or if you know a loved one that's in a court, and to always be very aware of the red flags and just use discernment, and if you don't have discernment, to pray for discernment to notice patterns. I'm blessed that my best friend has given me the ability to notice patterns all the time, and my advice is that before you join anything is just to observe or to patterns, and if anything in your conscience causes you to become uneased, that's an indication that something might be wrong. So don't always believe everything you hear. Always test all things, and test all spirits, test all things, and always be careful of your own senses, and be careful of those you surround yourself with. Otherwise, you surround yourself with bad company, you end up destroying yourself. I'm very grateful that I have my best friend with me all the time, and on him alone do I rely on. No groups, nothing else, just him, and he helps guard my heart while due diligence against any influence. So again, with courts, it starts off often like there's a saying that hell is often paved by good intentions, because humanity don't see how wicked their heart is. So many times humans thinking they're doing good, it ends up, there's another quote as well, that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, because no one goes into a court. Well, majority of courts, they don't start off as a court, they become that way. That what sadly ends up happening, because we're fallen, we're not like our Creator, like God, who's perfect and holy and righteous and loving. We often like to influence others. That's something I myself am very aware that why I won't be a leader of any group myself, because I know that I could easily go down that path if I don't have the right foundation. But that said, you could have someone else that could use a certain foundation and twist it, so that you have to be very careful of that. If you're uneased about things, always the clear sign of a court is the inability to have questions to be asked of. There's a hierarchy, that is a clear sign you're in a court if you're not able to express your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. And if there was a sense of control or a hierarchy of like people and leadership and things, and therefore if it doesn't function as a unit, that's a clear sign that if say there's court of personality in a court, that's a clear sign of a court. If there's like a court of personality going where everyone's drawn towards that person, that's an indication that you be in a court, that you might be in a court, more likely. So it's also if there's emotional manipulation, love bombing. Love bombing is more harder to see than hate bombing here. So it's when people use very lovey-dovey language, you have to guard your heart against that. And yeah, so I do hope this video would be a help to you. And because the last thing I would want is for anyone to get involved in a cult and end up having years of trauma to contend with, because it is something that leaves a giant scar on you, and the damage could has severely internal consequences. That's what breaks my heart the most. People using my best friend and twisting his words and using it to do evil wickedness and letting little ones go astray. There's no worse serious sin than that. But anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I'm very grateful for you watching it. Thank you.